Hello, I'm Mrs. Duncan, your Humanities 101 online instructor. We are in the unit that looks in Chapter 2, what is a work of art? Very important question. You will be seeing this again this half of the term. And so it would be a good idea in your chapter book that you would turn to page 20 in your textbook. So go pause the video if you need to. Go get your book. We're going to kind of talk about some of the things in there, but you need to be looking at your book a little bit too, instead of just the screen. Okay, so hopefully you're with me on page 20, and it says that there are 4 basic terms related primarily to the perceptual nature of a work of art. And if you'll look at our objectives, the main objectives of this entire chapter is that you should be able to explain and apply these accepted criteria used in identifying a work of art. So we will move on and look at paintings and sculptures and then move on to literature, but a work of art, and first we are going to start with a visual, but all of these will apply even to literature, to theater, to cinema, all of the different genres that we'll look at. So there are 4. And if you've read your chapter, which you should have already, is that there may be some disagreement about the application of these criteria, but these are the criteria that we use. Some additional ones mentioned are on the previous page, page 19, that the object or event is made by an artist. Okay, that kind of helps. They're another league, right? They have some talent and ability that the rest of us do not have. The object or event is intended to be a work of art, and 3 recognized experts agree that it is a work of art. So there can be some disagreement, but if those are all in line, then probably it is a work of art. Sometimes it takes time to decide these things. Some of us, most of us, really, you and me, we are not art experts, art historians, and we generally just kind of go, I like it, I don't like it. I want to hang it on my wall. Or, when you think of it decoratively, does it go with the colors for that room? We're going to learn a different set of criteria, and we want to look first of all at artistic form, and we have to learn what that is. Okay, so let's move on down here. The definition of artistic form: the organization of a medium, that is the word we use, the plural is media. Medium, that would be a painting. It's been painted. They used paint. Sculpture uses other materials. Typically we think of stone or marble, but it could be made out of a tire. It could be made out of some other 3-dimensional object. The medium is the item, the materials, okay? And it's organized. So there's something about it that it doesn't occur naturally. That's a key idea. A human being took a raw material and crafted it, organized it, and with meaning, and they were trying to clarify some idea, some subject matter that they had. It's not just simply duplication. It's why every photograph is not a work of art. Not every painting is a work of art. It might be a representation, but the skill level on it to be artistic has to be kind of organized. If it's already, think about people making jewelry out of things that they found. Well, when they found it, it wasn't artistic. When they crafted it into a piece of jewelry or made it into a doorknob or something, at that point it became possibly a piece of art. It was artistic. It was given form. It was manipulated and organized in some way. The second one is participation: sustained attention and loss of self-awareness. Wow, that one's a little bit harder. Let's move in our books to page 24, where it talks about this a little bit more in depth. Artistic form has this relationship, and there's unity, and participation has to do with its sort of needing a spectator, needing or implying an audience of some sort. For example, stories are written to be read or to be told. A play is written to be performed. Music is meant to be performed. So part of what makes something a work of art is this idea that it has to be participated in. People have to experience it. It's meant to be shared and responded to. So think of it a little bit like a performance, but that's the idea there. And the key to that participation is that we view it as an art form. Not just, it's a difference between attending our child's program, right, in which they are, demonstrating skills and whatever. The artistic form of it is maybe a little bit low, and we get in for free, right? We sometimes in high school plays you might have to pay a few dollars because it costs money, but when it's artistic form, you're going to pay extra money because there's a value there, and not just to popularity. So there's a cost, there's a participation, you get dressed up for the higher and finer arts typically, and there's an element of participation there. Okay, the next one is content. Okay, and in your book we move to page 27, and they refer back to two pieces of art that you'll be commenting on and responding to elsewhere in our unit. The picture, the photograph, I should say, by Adams on page 21, Execution in Saigon from during the Vietnam War, and then the painting by Goya in the early 1800s titled simply May 3rd, 1808, also depicting an execution. Okay, and one of your perception keys talks about whether one is an art form, and in there they argue that based on artistic form, Goya has a more perceptible degree of unity and perhaps the only one that has true artistic form. Adams was there and present, and surely he's skilled, but he just happened to be there. He didn't craft that. He didn't create that moment. Goya crafted that depiction of the moment very intentionally. Well, they also talk about content, and so they argue that Goya is a work of art and the photograph is not a work of art, but content does matter. And so does the background, look at the background, does it guide the viewer's attention? When you look at the Mona Lisa, there's a lot of commentary about the background and things about it there, how it shapes the meaning of artistic form, the content, what is actually being depicted, and how does it shape our understanding. So they both, the Goya painting and the Adams photograph both have the same basic theme, but that in itself is not artistic form, and that content wouldn't be the same as well. So it's the meaning. Content has not just subject matter. Subject matter is what is depicted, an execution. Content has to do with meaning that is fused or embodied with the form. It's the meaning of artistic form. Okay? And it's beyond just having an emotional response. Okay, so it has to do with, it's a little bit more manipulated by the artistic form. Hopefully that helps you understand it a little bit better. Some of these are, easier than others, but you will have to be able to explain it yourself. So you have artistic form, where your artist manipulates materials and organizes them in a skillful way, and it's not just a duplication or representation of something that happened or was imagined, but there's some recognizable talent, some artistic form. It's been formed. It's meant to be viewed and participated in and observed and appreciated, and then it has meaning. There is meaning to it. It's not just this happened, which is more what that Adams photograph is about. It's more reporting. It was, this is what's happening, this is the tragedy, this is the injustice. But there's some deeper levels of meaning. It's kind of like the difference between a newspaper article style. Let's just say let's just go way back to the Roman times, and someone wrote a report, an article, in the Roman Times newspaper. Of course, they really didn't have newspapers, but just go with me there a minute. And they reported on Julius Caesar's murder, right? That would be not art. But then you have the play Julius Caesar, written by Shakespeare, and it has the same subject matter. It's about Julius Caesar, and it's particularly about when he was murdered. And but that is an art form. It was written as a play. It has additional meanings that transcend the historical moment, and it's meant to be a performance, that kind of thing. So the content is this, the meaning there, that it's not just I understand what happened. Okay, so again, and we've mentioned subject matter. It does have to have some subject matter. Sometimes the subject matter isn't always clear. If it is very abstract, that means the subject matter isn't visual. Maybe it's more representational. Maybe it is an idea, a feeling, rather than an image that they want you to see. Sometimes subject matter is never directly presented. It says in the middle of page 30, if you turn there, under subject matter and artistic form, whereas a subject matter is a value, something of importance that we may perceive before any artistic interpretation, the content is the significantly interpreted subject matter as revealed by the artistic form. Well, we got to let that sink in a little bit. Let's go down a few more sentences. The conscious intentions of the artist may include magical, religious, political, economic, and other purposes. And then again, the conscious intentions may not include the purpose of clarifying values. So subject matter does give value. When you pick something and decide to craft art out of it, you have selected your subject matter very intentionally, and somehow you have given it value. Okay, on page 31, there is a photo of a child that, if he doesn't intervene, is going to die, and the vulture knows it, and says he did save the child, but became so depressed by all the tragedies that he committed suicide a year later. He gave that child value by choosing it for his subject matter. It says that actually he won a Pulitzer Prize for photography. Whether it's a work of art, you'd still have to apply all these things, and that's the question at the bottom. To what extent does Carter's photograph have artistic form? Are there as many meaningless details in this one as in the other photo by Adams of the execution? The background is a little bit more blurred. You've got a little bit more intentional angle and focus. That vulture kind of above the child and looking over it, and the child being closer. There's a little bit more manipulation of how he chose to take this photo. He got the angle he wanted. He did it in black and white. That's what we mean by artistic form. Subject matter, he gave that child value, and it's good to know that he saved the child as well. And it was powerful, and it has meaning, and it's disturbing. But that by itself is not enough to being disturbing, because even the execution one was disturbing. Okay, well, they all work together, and I want to look at something before we leave this chapter. There were some examples and so forth that you should. That's where it's going to help you a lot, is with examples. You will need to know your terms, but let's take a look at some art here. Okay, these names should be a little bit familiar to you because they're in our chapter, but I don't know that we had Salvador Dali, so let's take a look. He is what we call a surrealist from Spain. So he kind of, let's see what we can find in the image archives. Well, that wasn't what I was looking for exactly. see if we can find the gallery. There is one in particular. Da, 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 da.